record. Get your footy record.
Hi everyone, welcome to On The Record, brought to you by Woolworths as we take a sneak peek inside this week's edition of the AFL Record, Australia's #1 selling sports weekly magazine. And joining me today is the official mascot for the Melbourne 1964 Premiership team, Ben Collins. Benny, welcome.
Thanks, Ash. Thanks for bowing to public pressure again.
Always good to have you on the show. Let's turn straight to the feature story for this weekend. It is the preliminary final, Spotless Stadium, Saturday twilight, GWS hosting the Western Bulldogs. A massive game, so many storylines, Benny, out of this one. And let's start with Callan Ward, who for $50,000 would still be playing for the Western Bulldogs and not being captain of the Giants.
Yeah, it wasn't much, was it, Ash? Imagine him in the Bulldogs midfield right now. It'd be just frightening. But the Dogs probably didn't get the compensation that they wanted. They probably wanted 2 first-round picks. They got 1, and the one they got, Jackson Macrae, has been fantastic, especially in this final series.
The Ryan Griffin-Tom Boyd swap was a huge story at the time, at the end of 2014. So 2 years on, who's had the better of that deal?
Oh, far too early to tell, Ash, although we love to make hasty pronouncements. Boyd, obviously his contract is always going to be a massive talking point. At the moment, he's probably already structurally more important to the Dogs than Griffin is to the Giants. However, if Griffin can star in a Giants premiership, that's going to take some beating.
The two coaches, we've got Leon Cameron for the Giants and Luke Beveridge from the Western Bulldogs. Good friends, former teammates at the Dogs. They coached together at Hawthorn for a year under Alistair Clarkson. Are we looking already at 2 of the great coaches of the AFL?
I think we are, especially in Beveridge's case for how quickly he's turned around the Dogs' fortunes. Cameron has done a terrific job as well. He's had amazing talent at his disposal, so I'd probably like a little bit more time to see how Cameron handles adversity down the track.
Now, the weight of history, Benny, let's talk this one. It's also Brownlow week, so we've spoken this week to Brad Hardy, who won the 1985 Brownlow medal playing for Footscray. We talk about the weight of history. That day, the Bulldogs were beaten by Hawthorn by 10 points. He was a really good player, Hardy, wasn't he?
He certainly was. He was a very attacking back pocket player. Winners Rebooted shows him kicking goals from the back pocket. I'm not sure if Mick Moldhouse was enthused with his defensive style.
But of course, that was the first of 7 straight preliminary final defeats for the Western Bulldogs. And that weight of history they take into Saturday's game, do you think they can win?
Certainly, Asher. They're saying, why not? Why not us? And that's talking about the entire comp, the flag, so let alone the preliminary final. I mean, they're playing as well as anybody, and we're seeing them grow right before our very eyes, which is just terrific and exciting.
Speaking of the Brownlow, who's your tip for Monday night?
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Ash. Patrick Dangerfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What made you think of that?
No, and obviously you can't go past Danger. He's unbackable, really. But I also like Dan Hanbury. He's got a great mix of inside-outside game, and he's a proven vote-getter.
Turning now to the back half of the magazine, and Friday night's preliminary final is Geelong and the Sydney Swans at the MCG. In some ways, these are the 2 best teams of the season, so only one of them's going to make a grand final. A really big key to this game, Benny, will be the battle between Lance Franklin and Tom Monaghan.
Yeah, it certainly is, Ash. Lonergan's got a pretty reasonable record on Buddy. Buddy's just so important for not only kicking goals, but also creating havoc with his run up and down the field, which is probably what he's going to try to do to Lonergan, burn him up and down. But also if Tippett can prove his fitness and get back in the side, that's going to help Buddy as well.
And 2 great midfielders, led by 2 of the hardest heads going around in footy, really. Joel Selwood from Geelong and Josh Kennedy from the Sydney Swans.
Yeah, they're absolute warriors and great finals players as well, Ash. And yet they're only the support acts for guys like Dangerfield and Hanbury. It just shows there's going to be some absolutely fantastic midfield battles.
Now, you're a student of history, Benny. The last time these 2 teams played a final in MCG was 1934, the preliminary final. South Melbourne, as they were, won by 10 goals with Bob Pratt kicking 6 goals.
He did, and that was on the way to kicking the record 150 goals, which was in a season which was later equalled by Peter Hudson. Actually, there was another final in 1914 as well, won by the Swans. So Geelong is still yet to beat the Swans in a final, but this might be their best chance given the Swans' injuries.
And of course, in 2005, the famous Nick Davis game at the SCG, one of the great finals, 4 goals in the last quarter.
Yeah, it was. It broke the Cats' hearts, didn't it? And I think there's 3 Cats still left from that side, so they might exercise some demons. I don't think there's no Swans players remaining from that game now.
Benny, you've been very good. Thanks for all your insight, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Ash. Hopefully it's not too long away.
Thanks, Ben. And now to my tip for the preliminary finals. Unfortunately, got a 0 last week, so take all this with a grain of salt. I think that Geelong will get up on Friday night by 8 points in the game against the Swans, and I think GWS, playing at home, are going to make an historic grand final and beat the Bulldogs by a couple of goals. And now let's have one last look at the finalists for the 2016 Woolworths Mark of the Year competition.
Here's McKenzie, wasting no time, drives it a long way from goal. Oh, Door! Wow. Spectacular.
And he drives it long. Danaher! Oh! Maybe that was big.
That's all yours.
Enright. Men's that's one of the grabs of the year from Lobb. Back with a flight. It was never his.
I voted for Essendon's Joe Danaher, and on Monday night during the Brownlow medal count, we'll find out this year's winner. That's it for this week's edition of On The Record. Don't forget, if you're going to the footy, to the MCG or to Spotless Stadium, $10 will get you a copy of the record. Look for the kids in the green caps and the green jackets. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.